Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching a movie on what if Naruto became a god. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
I will always believe in you, Sasuke. You will always be a member of Team 7. You will always be my friend, Sasuke. Sasuke, let's call it a day and return to Konoha together. Why, Sasuke? I jolted awake from my sleep. My right arm and right eye were jolted by pain. When I used my chakra, I noticed a difference in my right eye, as the chakra was not the same as before. I looked around, trying to relax, and discovered that I was in a cave. I turned my head to look for the exit when I noticed Hinata leaning against the wall, surrounded by a pool of blood. Hinata, what happened? What's the matter with you? Perhaps she opened her eyes as a result of my scream or as she waited for me to wake up. Naruto. Her voice was weak, her skin was pale, and the light from her eyes was gradually dimming. Try to recall Naruto. Recall his betrayal. She lowered her head in shame as she said this. What does she mean when she says, his betrayal? Suddenly, a flood of memories assaulted my mind. I exclaimed, and then I began to remember. So I thought I killed Kaguya alongside Sasuke. While fighting Sasuke to bring him back to Konoha, he suddenly smiled at me before our last battle and said something. Kaguya, please assist me in finishing him. His chakra became much stronger at that point, and his chidori passed through my rasengan, destroying my right arm and eye. Before passing out, I noticed him smiling wickedly at me, and his last words sent chills down my spine. Everyone forgot about my brother, about his sacrifice, about everything he's done, so I'm going to punish them. I'm going to become their god and show them how wrong they were to underestimate the Uchiha clan. He began to laugh like a lunatic and attempted to approach me. I closed my eyes and forgot about my conscience. Wait, something is wrong. If he destroyed my right arm and eye, how come I can see and have an arm? I remember now, Hinata. But what happened after that? When something caught my eye, she raised her face so I could see her better. Bandages covered the right side of her face. And no way. Hinata, what gave you your eye? Naruto. Don't worry. I gave you my eye because it was necessary for both of us to be immune to the infinite Tsukuyomi, so I replaced your left eye with mine. Every word was spoken with great difficulty. Each word seemed to bring her closer to death. What about my right eye? Where are Kakashi, Sakura, Tsunade, and everyone else? I began screaming my final words, unable to comprehend what had occurred. I had faith in him, in my friend. I hoped he was the only person who truly understood me. But in the end, he betrayed me and wanted to end my life. Calm down, Naruto. After you were defeated, all the Kages, along with the rest of Konoha's ninjas, fought against Sasuke to save you. During the fight, Kakashi managed to pull out his right eye that received the gift of the Sage of Six Paths. His eye was put instead of your crushed one. After Kakashi gave me the eye, he was stabbed by Sasuke's sword and died without even saying. Her words were like a cold rain on my bones, and I finally understood. Everyone died as a result of my relentless pursuit of Sasuke. Everybody, everybody, everybody. I let my head drop to my chest, giving up all hope. Hinata. I'm really useless. So many of my friends died because of me. Why do I have to live when they died? I was slapped after a few seconds of silence. I turned around to see Hinata crying and grabbing my collar. Why do you think everyone sacrificed? Because they trusted you. Because they believe you can still change something, because I believe you can save this world. Naruto, Never wish something like this. Her words were almost choked by her crying. Never. Don't forget that you are my most precious person. She was terrified. She was terrified. Despite the pain, she continued to place her trust in me. What exactly am I doing? I slapped my bills and smiled at her. I'm sorry, Hinata. Please forgive me, and please tell me the rest. By the way, where is Shino? Hinata stopped crying after seeing my smile. Shino is dead. After Sasuke realized what we were planning, he searched for the bug's chakra. Shino felt it and left with the bugs while evolving a few to protect us for a while. After he died, the bugs left, so I used my chakra to create a barrier around us. After I created it, I realized that your chakra was still going outside of my barrier because it didn't recognize my chakra and tried to escape. Her words became increasingly faint. It was nearly impossible to hear her final words. Hinata, what's the matter with you? Hinata? Hinata? Naruto, when I gave you my eye, the technique I used required my life force in exchange, and because I was already injured by Sasuke, I can't recover and I lost too much blood. Her eyes slowly closed and her body became colder. Take care of yourself, Naruto, and live, and defeat Sasuke. I believe you can do it. She leaned against my chest before raising her face and kissing my lips. I tasted blood, but she suddenly lost her strength and fell on my shoulder. Hinata, Hinata, wake up. She didn't move no matter what I said. I raised her lovely face and kissed her once more. I finally realized how much I adored her and how important she was to me. Everything I regretted. However, it was too late. I was too focused on Sasuke's back. I was overly concerned with Sakura's needs. As a result, I forgot about Hinata, despite the fact that I knew she wanted to be near me. I made a vow while hugging her dead body. I will kill you and erase your existence from this world, Sasuke. I was on the verge of having my heart shattered when Jiraiya died. Iruka-sensei was the only thing keeping it from completely breaking. But now they're all gone. Everyone made a sacrifice for me. It's better if it shatters this time. A heart that only believes in the good and never attempts to confront and accept the evil will never be able to truly save something. I was an idiot. Hinata had to die for me to realize this. I couldn't bring myself to properly send Hinata off for the first week after she died. I let her go into the depths of the cave near a wall, hoping that she would wake up. Maybe she wasn't dead after all. I was afraid to even feel her pulse or listen to her breathing. Instead, I tried to figure out what her Byakugan was. If I am to defeat Sasuke, I must first protect myself from him until I am stronger. I can't let him feel my chakra until then. Fortunately, it is now very weak. I focused the chakra on my left eye, sealed my hand, and said, Byakugan. For a while, I felt the chakra moving inside my eye in a set pattern until a headache made me almost faint. All of Hinata's memories were poured into my mind. Her never-ending training, devotion to her friends, love for me, everything. When I opened my eyes, it was dark outside. Hours had passed. I thought I had finally accepted all of her memories when I felt like new information was being given to me inside my mind. It was strange because I had already received all of Hinata's memories. Suddenly, I saw a place on the moon, a temple where the history of the Hyuga was written alongside another clan, the Otsutsuki clan. There was also someone guarding it. He attempted to disrupt my chakra, preventing me from approaching something. He abruptly yelled, "How dare you, a person not from the pure Hyuga clan, come here to learn the Otsutsuki clan's secret?" I felt his rage, and if it had been before, I would have tried to leave him alone. But now I can't. I attempted to seek assistance from the nature chakra when I suddenly passed through his chakra and attacked his mind, destroying it. He collapsed like a puppet whose strings were suddenly severed. What occurred? When I tried to feel my chakra, it felt as if the entire nature chakra wasn't entering my body, but rather changing its form so that I could use it continuously without having to store it inside my body. An infinite sage mode with no previous dangers. This should have been the sage of 6 paths present. I returned my gaze to the young man with pale blue hair. I felt a little sad, but I knew that wasting time like this would lead to my death. I accepted that only by killing could I finally put an end to Sasuke's plan. Talking to him has never worked and will never work in the future. When I discovered a mass of chakra, I went deeper inside. When it started to get inside me, I touched it lightly. The chakra came from a powerful Otsutsuki clan member. Perhaps from the clan's founder. I had to wait a few hours to get everything, and then I realized why I had come. This chakra causes the Byakugan to transform into something else. Tensegan should be its name. It appears that chakra has some kind of memory that can be accessed. The abilities should then be mostly like the Rinnegan's, attraction and repel. However, it should also significantly improve physical abilities. Then I suppose it can be combined with all of the standard Hyuga ninjutsu to increase their strength and versatility. I blinked my eyes open. I noticed a flower-like pattern in my left eye, but even though it should have been white, something was off. It had the impression of being unique. That shouldn't matter for the time being. I could now see the chakra within my body. Its flow, as well as my chakra points. Also, I should be able to open the 8 gates the same way Guy did. As a result, Tensegan strengthens the body, allowing it to withstand the enormous chakra. And because I can get it from nature, I'm not risking depleting my life force. This should be an effective weapon. The flow of nature chakra became visible around me, but I can also make it disappear so it doesn't obstruct my view. I turned my head toward Hinata when I suddenly remembered that it also displays her chakra if she is alive. It was too late to turn my head back, her from within, until I felt how I bit inside my flesh as well. I turned around and began to form a barrier with the nature chakra. Sasuke will never be able to find me this way as long as he is not close enough. I also tried to understand the other eye jutsu using chakra memories. It took me 5 days to grasp the Sharingan. Throughout this time, the nature chakra was completely protecting me, so even if Sasuke was only a few meters away, he wouldn't be able to find me. I also used chakra to keep Hinata's body frozen in place. During this time, I learned the secrets of the Sharingan as well as the other Uchiha ninjutsu. The fire jutsu were weak but versatile, while the block and reflect ninjutsu were both complicated and powerful. I made a samurai sword out of a black 6 paths rod that could use the same block and reflect principle as Madara's. Following that, I began learning the other jutsu from the Mangekyo Sharingan. Amaterasu worked on the same principles as normal fire jutsu, but she used a lot of chakra and could only be controlled by the Mangekyo. Otherwise, she would burn the user. After a few tries, I was able to change its shape and create a defensive form that was denser than the one Sasuke was using, resembling a cloak that could extend to protect my entire body. Susanoo was difficult to use because it required chakra from both of my eyes. I only had it in one eye, but after combining it with Rinnegan, it appears that it can be used with just one eye. Susanoo's form resembled that of Sasuke, but it didn't matter. I could use all of the jutsu Susanoo normally used, so it was sufficient. Kamui was the most difficult. Sasuke couldn't use it, but I could understand it thanks to the Rinnegan chakra. After 2 days, I was finally able to enter another dimension. My chakra was already changing when I returned. It wasn't blue like I was used to seeing. It was now dark, with a calm black color moving around me and a hint of red. I tried to see how difficult it would be to use Rinnegan, but to my surprise, it was as easy as I had it from the start. According to appearances, the Rinnegan given to Sasuke by the Sage of Six Paths was in full form. 7 days had passed since Hinata's death. Nothing has changed since the beginning. She was still present. There is no movement. There is no breathing. I created a cave until the mountain's core by using Uchiha fire jutsu. I placed her body down, kissing her lips one last time, before using the Tensagen to collapse the entire mountain while her body was protected by one of the 9 orbs that I had. Surprisingly, I now had 1 rod and 9 orbs. After a week, I decided to leave the cave and go to Myoboku Mountain to learn stronger nature jutsu. Now that I'm here, I'm wondering where Gamakichi and the others are. Is anyone there? How are you, Gamabunta? Gamabunta began to tremble as soon as he saw me. He abruptly bowed his head, striking the ground. I had no idea the great Otsutsuki-sama would come to our Mount Myoboku so soon. I tried to feel the chakra around me but couldn't find Kaguya. Only Gamakichi, who was hidden a few meters behind Gamabunta, and Fukasaku, who was a few hundred meters away and approaching, were visible. When he arrived and saw me, he, like Gamabunta, bowed his head to the ground. Oh, great Otsutsuki-sama, it's an honor that our Myoboku Mount can receive your presence. If we can assist you in any way, please let us know. They don't seem to recognize me. I tried to notice what was different about my body, but I couldn't be sure without seeing my reflection. I remained silent. There is no reason to believe them. They could already be under the control of Sasuke's Sharingan. It's better to test their trustworthiness first. Where has Naruto gone? Fukasaku and Gamabunta both grimaced when they heard my question. Oh great Otsutsuki-sama, who is this Naruto you're talking about? You won't say you don't know, so give me the life of the toad behind Gamabunta and I'll leave you alone. What exactly am I saying? When Gamakichi appeared from behind him, Gamabunta raised his terrified eyes to look at me. I'm leaving, father. He said this while smiling and preparing to leap in front of me. No. Gamabunta suddenly drew his sword and attacked me. Why are you attacking Otsutsuki-sama, you moron? The great sage toad attempted to stop him, but he was already 1 meter away from me. Even so, he moved so slowly that it felt like he was moving through a sea of water. To block and reflect, I used the chakra sword I created. Gamabunta's body flew dozens of meters through the air before collapsing on a massive rock. Gamakichi looked at me, terrified. Please don't hurt my father. It's fine, you can have my life. He drew his sword, ready to kill himself. But I couldn't let him do it, so I stopped him before he could. Wait, what happened? Because he couldn't see me move, he couldn't figure out why he couldn't move the sword. Calm down, Gamakichi. Did you forget about your friend? He saw me, but doubt and worry remained in his eyes. Are you possibly Naruto? It appeared that the great sage toad had figured it out. Yeah. Gamabunta also returned, and when he heard this, he abruptly stopped attacking me and gave me a serious look. If you're Naruto, why would you ask for my son's life? Yeah. What made me do it? Eh? Calm down, Gamabunta. Let us first hear Naruto. Naruto, can you accompany me to the Great Sage Toad? Yes. We arrived at the Great Sage Toad in silence. Until we arrived, all the toads who saw me bowed their heads, including the Great Sage Toad, and I was prepared to tell him who I am again. Hello, Naruto. Fukasaku, Bring some of Jiraiya's clothes from when he was younger and give them to Naruto. Of course, Gamamaru-sama. Leave the rest of you alone, I need to talk to Naruto. The senile toad began to act as if everything I had seen before was an act, and when they all left, he looked at me with a sad but also reverent expression. Can you please tell me what happened, Naruto? I began telling him about the war, but he interrupted me. I already know, but I'm curious about what happened to your body. I learned all of the great eye techniques as well as chakra nature control from the Six Paths Sage. Fukasaku came in, took the clothes, and left without wasting a second, and Gamamaru closed his eyes for a long time. Naruto, you've taken a new path right now. First and foremost, do you know how you appear? What exactly do you mean? With his finger, he indicated the location of a pond in the corner of the room with clear water, and I finally understood why both Gamabunta and Fukasaku couldn't recognize me. Long white hair like snow with bangs that felt to my chest when I leaned forward, pale skin, tattered clothes covered by a black mantle made of amaterasu covering everything from my neck until the ankles. It resembled the cloak that those from Akatsuki. I changed into Jiraiya's Anbu set and returned to Gamamaru after. What happened to my eyes and hair? He gave me a brief look before saying. Right now, you are a member of the Otsutsuki clan. However, they are distinct from me. What exactly do you mean? Your white hair is a result of the endless chakra that existed around you. Your hair is no longer a part of you, and it will not grow shorter or longer. It houses your chakra and reflects everything in your environment. Because your eyes are getting closer to the origin of the supreme chakra path, they contain the flame of origin that can obliterate Amaterasu. You can also see chakra even if it doesn't have its own nature. You can control, change, and destroy it. You have the ability to kill a being that relies on chakra simply by cutting the chakra that normally resides within its body. How many orbs can you conjure up? 9. He took a deep breath of relief. However, I also used one to make a sword. So, I believe I used to have 10. He shuddered slightly. Do you know why Hagoromo and Kaguya couldn't make 10 orbs? No. Because they weren't able to use the entire path of origin. What exactly do you mean? Kaguya is so powerful, and she can't use the entire path of origin? Do you remember how Jiraiya looked when he was in Sage mode, Naruto? Yeah, he looked like a toad. I suddenly realized that everyone who used the Sage of Six Paths chakra had their bodies altered, with horns on their heads or other changes. It appears you understood. Yes, they all had insufficient chakra control. Kaguya tried to use a third eye to access more chakra, but she became weaker and was sealed by her two sons. The most they could use is 10% of the original chakra. You can use it entirely. Wait, does that mean I'm stronger than Kaguya? Not now. It will take you a year to adjust to everything and change yourself. What exactly do you mean? Did you not notice? What? Not only is your body and chakra changing, but so is your mind. The chakra provides you with wisdom. It enables you to comprehend even the most complex chakra. Because you now have 10 orbs, you can not only use all of the origin chakra, but also evolve it, allowing you to use the last change. 5 orbs represent the 5 elements, 2 orbs represent yin and yang, 2 orbs represent life and death, and the last orb represents the origin, according to Naruto. When you achieve the last one, you will become the god of this world. Can I become a god? How could it be that easy? Remember, Naruto, that even Kaguya does not fully comprehend the chakra of origin. Only you can use it and comprehend it. You will be able to receive information from your own chakra that holds the secret of chakra, once you have fully comprehended it. How can I comprehend it? Gamamaru stood up, made a hand seal, and pressed on his own chair. A section of the stone vanished, revealing a path behind it. The Sage of Six Paths once told me that in order to train in the Chakra of Origin, one must first understand each phase. As a result, he established his own training facility, but he was only able to reach the 9th level by the end of his life. He also stated that even if he had immortality, he would be unable to enter the final layer. Go inside Naruto, and when you come out, you will have access to your true powers. I took a look at Gamamaru, then at the path. That place had a strange attraction for me. I started walking towards it, but I came to a halt next to Gamamaru. Gamamaru, will I still be myself when I come out? Naruto, now that you are wise, you should understand that becoming wise entails changing yourself in order to accept the world and yourself. You never truly accepted yourself because you were afraid of your power. You also try to only see the good in people while ignoring the bad. You no longer want to do so. You won't have to worry about this once you finish your training, Naruto. This is the only thing I have to say. His words had a deep meaning for me. But I didn't have time to think about it. Thank you. I'm leaving. If Kaguya and Sasuke come here, I will do my best to assist them. Don't worry, Naruto. The Sage of Six Paths predicted that such a time would come, so there is a way to completely remove Mount Myoboku from this realm. Then everything is fine. Say goodbye to Fukasaku and Shima, and apologize to Gamabunta and Gamakichi on my behalf. Naruto, go. I walked down the dark path that led to an unknown location. The stone also blocked the path I took. I walked for several hours until I came to a cave. Inside, in the center, stood a massive tree taller than the highest mountain and wider than Konoha itself. The same chakra that I have was slowly pulsing from it. How come I didn't feel it sooner? I approached it and touched its surface. All of my chakra began to leave my body faster than I could replenish it. I tried but couldn't get my hand off the tree's surface. It seemed to have the same allure as Tensagen. I gave up and tried to give it all of my chakra to see what it was trying to do with it. I was finally able to break free from the tree after 1 or 2 days at the end of my chakra. I'm exhausted from lying on my back. The tree began to glow menacingly. The space around me was being devoured by a dark light. A liquid began to gather on one of the branches and then fell on my head. A chakra dropped resembling a raindrop. I lost my conscience the moment it touched my head. I blinked my eyes open. I'm not sure how much time has passed. I was on top of a chakra sea or ocean. I could sense its vastness through my own chakra. I guess this is where I'll have to practice. 6 months have passed. I had to change the entire chakra nature in that space in different forms in the silence of that place. I had to change it from one element to another first. It was difficult at first, but after a while it became as natural to me as breathing. When it came to the yin and yang release, I had to understand that chakra can take on different personalities depending on a person's feelings and desires. They had the ability to create something from nothing and also return everything to nothing. As a result, I had to condense the chakra from the entire ocean into a single drop and then return the single drop to the vastness of the ocean. The chakra death path was simple because it involved burning the chakra to a certain extent. When I did it, I felt a sharp pain in my chest, as if someone close to me was dying. I was relieved to discover that I only needed to make minor changes to accept it. The final of the 9 paths, life, was the most difficult because I had to create something physical from the chakra. I made the decision to build a body for Kurama. I made it to look like his usual form, but smaller, about 3 meters tall, with a body that could use the 9 chakra natures with his tails to some extent. I changed its normal reddish color to black and added a flame to its brow. When I discovered Kurama inside me, I used some of my chakra to wake him up. He was startled at first because he didn't know where he was, but once he felt me, he calmed down. What happened, Naruto? He looked around, feeling uneasy. What's the matter with you, Kurama? Nothing, just the presence of Hagoromo, but it's also unique. It's much stronger, so much stronger that it can't even compete with the one Hagoromo had. That comes from me. What exactly do you mean? I prepared a body for you. Would you like to have a physical body again? What? How? Where? Can you calm down, Kurama? His impatience made me laugh a little. Of course. Says one. I took his chakra as well as his life core and placed them in the body I created. I had to adjust the chakra so it wouldn't reject the body for a while, but everything eventually connected. How do you feel? This is fantastic, Naruto. It feels much more powerful. Just how? He looked at me for a split second before his eyes filled with fear. Calm down, it's just me. Naruto, what happened to you? I used chakra to send him my memories from the end of my battle with Sasuke to the present. He promptly fell asleep after receiving them. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or even days. I became concerned, but after 10 days, he finally opened his eyes. Now I know what happened. Are you okay, Naruto? What exactly do you mean? Everything is fine with me. So, how about you? It took you a long time to obtain my memories. You've already changed significantly. I can't even begin to compare myself to you. It's all right. I'm glad you're okay. I felt even more connected to him now. I could tell what he was thinking and feeling, and I knew I could trust him with my life. He had become my brother. Strong emotions began to make me tremble as I approached him and hugged his lowered head at my level. I was missing you, my friend. He put his head on my back and closed his eyes. I missed you, Naruto. After a few minutes, I moved a little further away from Kurama, facing him. Now I must master the final path. Because it will take longer, I need you to protect me if anything goes wrong. Don't worry, Naruto. I'll defend you with my life. I put my head on his fur and fell into a trance after he sat on a stone plate I made with the chakra around me. He wrapped his tail around me and began to consider his new abilities. Surprisingly, now that Kurama was with me, I felt a lot more at ease. It didn't seem to matter that all of my friends had died. I could live with it. I began training once more. I found an orb where the chakra of origin was giving a faint pulse as I went deeper into my conscience. When I approached it, I was suddenly transported to another world. There were no chakras around me. Where can I find this? That's a good question. What do you think the location is? My conscience was invaded by a deep voice that sounded like an old man's. I didn't expect anyone to respond, so I looked for the source of the voice. I was in a never-ending white room. It was all white. There should have been some light inside, but I couldn't find it. I gave up looking for the owner of the voice and just used it to learn about the power I possessed. I'm not sure. When in doubt, say it out loud. It is preferable to admit you don't know something than to ignore everything you don't understand and pretend it doesn't exist. Can you tell me your name? A person's identity is held by their name, which places them in a specific place within society. But I'm not living in your world. As a result, I don't have a name like you. If you really want to know what my name is, it will be Endless. Endless? Yes, because I am not confined to a physical body and am not ruled by it. Because I'm free, I'm everywhere. I comprehend. My gift appears to have finally fallen into the hands of someone who could accept it. Regrettably, it took time and a unique circumstance. So you're the one who gave this planet Chakra? Both yes and no. What I gave you was a means of gaining power. You just assumed it was a one-of-a-kind ability. Then Chakra isn't a life-giving force? No way, no how. It's only a system. If you had chosen differently, that power would have become technology, magic, spirit, or whatever you desired. What, then, is the chakra of origin? Attempt to adjust all chakra types until now in order to build a tower. You will understand once you are able to do so. Allow yourself plenty of time. Until then, I'll leave you alone. When I realized the owner of the voice was no longer paying attention to me, I tried to fix every chakra under my control in the same shape, a plate, and stack them. It was difficult to make changes for all of the chakra natures at the same time. I'm not sure how much time passed, but it didn't feel valuable in that space. Finally, I was able to construct the tower before it abruptly dispersed, resulting in a chakra devoid of any form of nature. In this case, it might be better to call it a power. The chakra of origin represents the original power without form. Yes, it appears that you have the necessary skill. Unfortunately, you have already forgotten about yourself. What exactly do you mean? Do you think you're Naruto? Yes. Consider your past, your mindset, and your actions. Check to see if you are the same person who was known as Naruto. When I suddenly felt like the me of the past was a different person with almost nothing in common with how I was now, I began to think. How did this happen to me? Welcome. The voice said cheerfully. Where? To a location known as the Realm of Gods. You should be able to grasp it by now. I said too bad because it would have been interesting to see you keep the same attitude. But you are now a god. You no longer have a name, but you can continue to refer to yourself as before. Also, do you want to stay in this world or go to another? A different world? What exactly is he on about? What other world is there? Oh, you don't seem to understand. I am not a god. I am simply the source of a gift. Someone put me in this world so that you humans could get somewhere. That location can be opened by one person, many people, or none at all. It simply depends on what people choose to rely on. Either themselves or another power. Are there other worlds besides this one? Yes, but you were unable to visit them. There are worlds designed specifically for people like you. There, you can seek even greater power or simply accept the peace of a place where time has no effect on you. I felt compelled to flee to that location right then and there. But something was preventing me from saying it. You have some tasks to complete. Everything is fine. Before you leave, I'll teach you how to use all of the jutsu. Use the orbs to store various jutsu and use them without wasting time forming them with hand signs. Different chakra combinations began to appear in my mind, including the one Tsuchikage was using, Dust Release. Jutsu capable of annihilating an entire village in a single second, such as Konoha. The most powerful jutsu was a 5-element nature change based on wind, fire, earth, and lightning. It looked like my rasengan but was half the size. Its power could instantly destroy the entire land of fire. A dark ball with 5 orbs moving slowly inside it. These jutsu are extremely powerful. However, by simply using the origin, you should be able to use the 9 orbs and the sword you have to erase whatever you want. For the time being, go finish your mission. I'll wait for you to make your decision and change what you want to change. I came to Kurama was a few meters away from me, while I was near the tree. "Greetings, Master." He bowed his head and closed his eyes. "Kurama. Everything is fine. I'll let you be the last person to call me Naruto." "Naruto, welcome back." I smiled at him, and he smiled back. We both changed a lot. "Kurama, let's go out." "Of course, Naruto." The massive tree behind my back began to vanish like mist. After it vanished, a dark orb entered my body. Its power dwarfed that of all the nature chakra I had previously used. It only took a small amount of that power to wipe out all the beings in this world. I jumped back on Kurama and dashed out of the passage. Gamamaru only bowed his head and said a few words when he saw me. 1 year has passed. Congratulations. I nodded at him and exited the Myoboku mountain area. Gamakichi, Gamabunta, and Fukasaku entered the room where Naruto had been a few seconds before. "Is Naruto okay?" Gamakichi inquired, concerned. He accepted Naruto's actions from the moment he arrived, even if he didn't understand them. "Yes, he's fine." "Is Naruto still the same Naruto, great sage?" Gamabunta inquired, and Fukasaku, who had the same question, simply nodded. Gamamaru remained silent for a few seconds as he considered how to respond to the question. Gamamaru responded to their question with a sigh in a bitter tone. "Naruto has already left. From now on, his decisions will determine the fate of the world." Fukasaku and Gambunta remained silent before turning to leave. Gamakichi kept looking at Gamamaru as if he had more questions. But when he saw his father's face, he gave up and left with them. Gamamaru, who was alone, closed his eyes and pondered some of his thoughts. He was the child of prophecy, but it can also be said that the prophecy failed to come true. "I'm curious why. Do you know where we should look for Sasuke and Kaguya, Naruto?" "We don't need to look for him because I already know where he is. We could teleport there, but there's no need to rush." "How do you know he's there?" "Right now, all chakra is under my command and providing me with information about everything. I'll know where Sasuke is as long as he's using his chakra." "I comprehend. Also, Naruto, are you still upset about what Sasuke did?" When I heard his question, I sighed because I was thinking the same thing. That makes me curious. I'm angry, or perhaps just frustrated, that I didn't have the authority to prevent him from doing what he wanted. If there is someone I truly despise, it is Naruto from the past. If I had even the slightest doubt in my heart, I would not have taken Sasuke's words for granted. But that's about it. Hinata died, as did all of my Konoha friends. Almost all shinobi perished as well. It's pointless to despise someone for doing something you couldn't stop. Kurama remained silent for a few seconds. "You've grown a lot, Naruto?" I asked, resting my head on his fur. "Do you think I'm worse?" "No. At least, not in my opinion." "Naruto, I'm honored to be your companion. At least you're dressing better now." I couldn't keep from laughing. "What exactly do you mean, Kurama?" Kurama grinned as he turned his head to face me. "You always wore the same clothes. I felt sorry for you because you were dressed as a ninja in black and yellow. At least you're dressed like a proper ninja now. Even if your white hair and eyes set you apart from the average ninja." "Well, that's good to know. By the way, it appears your eyes have changed yet again." "What? What exactly do you mean?" "You have a black flame in the center of your eye, surrounded by small orbs. There should be 9 orbs, I believe." I tried to feel the chakra with my eyes and noticed that Rinnegan, Sharingan, and Tensegan were all active at the same time. I also had the impression that I could control all 9 orbs at the same time. This appears to be the final form of dojutsu. It's quite potent. I'm not sure what you're saying, but you look cool. We both laughed for a few minutes after Kurama said that. Should we leave now? How fast can you now run? No need to run, hee. What exactly do you mean? The wind gathered at Kurama's feet, forming a circle that lifted his body into the air. I can now move my body through air by controlling the wind chakra. It's quite simple now that I've learned about all the changes in chakra nature. Are you capable of manipulating all chakra natures? Yes. I took half of the chakra from around you and used it to train after you fell asleep while training. It went much faster than I could have imagined. Wait a second, you took chakra from me, so it took me that long to understand the chakra of origin? His entire body shivered slightly. Are you upset? I was a little irritated. Don't worry, Kurama. But I think I should make you a new body. What about a 9-tailed rat? Please spare me that. I apologize. Please accept my apologies. I laughed a little when I saw how upset he was. It's okay, I was joking. Gamamaru anticipated that I would need a year to master the chakra of origin, so everything was planned accordingly. Without a doubt. He breathed a sigh of relief. How do I know which way to go? I used my chakra to show him the path in his mind, and he began moving quickly. At this rate, we'll get to Sasuke in about an hour. Would you like to get to him faster? No, I need to think about what I should do after I see him for a while. He nodded and remained silent until we arrived at Sasuke's house. When we finally found Sasuke, he was standing on a cliff with Kaguya. Naruto, I was sick of waiting. Thank you for bringing your pet. I need it to complete my plan. A year ago, I accidentally killed a few of the other pets. He'll come in handy. Naruto. What's the matter, Kurama? Is he insane? More or fewer? What are you two talking about? Prepare to be killed, Naruto. He turned on Susanoo and prepared to shoot Indra's arrow. Naruto, you have no idea how powerful I've become. I can cut in 1,000 pieces even without Kaguya's assistance. Die as the final sacrifice for my plan. You're a phony hero. Itachi is the true hero, and the world will know it from now on. He fired the arrow, which now had the lightning nature of Amaterasu. It was already in front of me in less than a second. I drew my cloak's blade and released the 9 orbs. Instead of reflecting the arrow, I simply dispersed it with the blade. Is that all? Ha ha ha, I see you've learned some new tricks. You can now use the truth-seeking balls thanks to my vision. A loser like you has no chance in front of me. I'll show you how to use this power properly. He suddenly unleashed all of the orbs on me. If you can, block this. I used a Keke Tota that combined lightning and fire chakras. I made a web out of thin threads of chakra with this. Another one of your gimmicks? Nice try, but it takes a lot of chakra to destroy just one orb. I can only destroy 2 with all of my chakra. Naruto, please die now. When the orbs collided with the web, they all disintegrated. Sasuke opened his mouth to speak, but no words were heard. If you want multiple attacks, just one orb. I used my mind to split one orb into 16 long spears connected at the center by a short spear. I used 16 of them to stab his legs and arms, pinning him to the ground, while the last stood over his heart. What gives you the right to attack me? Don't fall victim to my Sharingan. He attempted to trap me inside an illusion while burning me with Amaterasu. I didn't block it, but the cloak extended and devoured his flame before it hit me. What? How is this even possible? Please assist me, Kaguya. Let's murder him. There's no way to kill him right now. What are you talking about? I lack the ability to defeat him. She knelt down as if she was about to die. What on earth are you doing? What do you intend to do with these two, Naruto? If you want, I can kill both of them by myself. There is no need. Place me next to Sasuke. I jumped from Kurama's back as he lowered his body next to Sasuke. It's time to call it quits, Sasuke. You'll be able to do it like hell. I'll get out of here and eventually find a way to kill you. Just wait until I exact my vengeance. He was screaming more and more. I placed my hand on his brow and threaded a thin thread through his brain. Adieu, my first friend. I sent chakra through the thread, annihilating all of his nerves. With his mouth open, the light from his eyes faded and died. I retracted the orbs and sword inside my cloak and closed his mouth and eyes. I lifted my head to gaze at the sky. Hinata, I kept my promise to you. I apologize for not being able to protect you. Everything came to an end now. I erased Sasuke's body after killing him. What are you going to do with Kaguya, Naruto? I'm not sure I'd be able to catch her if she tried to flee. So she had that choice. Instead, she sits and waits. I'm curious to hear what she has to say. I made 2 chairs out of the wood element. One next to her and one next to me. I took a seat on one of them. Raise your head, Kaguya. I don't hold you responsible for anything that happened. If you are interested, I would like to speak with you. I will sit if you allow me to raise my head. I couldn't understand why she was speaking in this manner, but I let her do so without question. She raised her body and sat on the chair with dignity. I felt like I was watching a true lord rather than those old men who rule the Fire Nation. While staring at her, I had stopped breathing. I tried not to appear agitated, so I asked her what was on my mind. So, what made you decide not to run? I'm sure you're aware of the Chakra of Origin's abilities. In addition, I don't see Black Zetsu. What happened to him? I'll start by telling you about Zetsu. It will be more efficient to discuss this first. My only creation using the Chakra of Life was Black Zetsu. Creating a new being without a substitute is extremely difficult, and he was created using almost all of my chakra. He adored me as his mother and went to great lengths to ensure my recovery. When I ate the Shinju fruit, I realized how powerful it was, but it didn't tempt me. I only attempted to gain that power after witnessing how easily humans could be swayed by power. They became greedy for that power, and I was afraid that if I stopped trying to keep them under control, they would destroy the world. When I used Infinite Tsukuyomi, I hoped to be able to use the collective chakra to reach the Chakra of Origin, and then use that chakra to create protectors for this world who wouldn't let them do what they wanted. My sons were trying to save the world, so I hoped they would understand. Instead, they attacked me when I was at my most vulnerable. They sealed me after realizing they couldn't destroy me. To exact revenge on me, Black Zetsu instigated a war between them while also attempting to resurrect me. The path he chose was bloody. So, after I resurrected, I destroyed him. Wait a minute. You know that using Infinite Tsukuyomi traps all humans in a cocoon and transforms them into white Zetsu. That is both correct and incorrect. Those trapped by the Infinite Tsukuyomi are subjected to powerful chakra that affects their bodies. This is something I only recently discovered. My sons thought my plan was to keep them in that state indefinitely. But there was no compelling reason for me to do so. All of the white Zetsu are the result of my chakra, and they all have some of my personality. They are peaceful and try to help humans, but because the high amount of chakra affected them, they can no longer think on a larger scale, making them easy to control. She paused to give me time to comprehend. Thinking about her actions, it was clear that many things were exactly as she claimed. I couldn't be sure because I didn't have any proof. At the end of the day, what is your plan? I didn't die, so I just stood there watching the world go by. I gave up when I was about to be killed by Sasuke and you. Sasuke used his Sharingan to create the illusion that I was hit by your attack shortly before you were able to kill me. As a result, I was able to assist him. Why would you follow him if you're trying to protect humans? Do you truly believe that achieving peace will be so simple? Even if I died tomorrow, someone else would try to seize power and rule over all humans. Sasuke wanted to use infinite Tsukuyomi to make all humans feel Itachi's pain. He was simply consumed by vengeance. I intended to use that power to assist him in achieving peace and possibly beginning to help humans. How can I believe this? There isn't any reason. However, there is a way to make one. You should be able to tell if I'm lying or not, so are you willing to give it a shot? What are you on about? I will bind my soul to yours so that you can kill me at any time and access all of my thoughts. And how are you going to do it? It's by kissing you. Say it again? I must give you my blood, chakra, and life force. This is the only option. Kurama, who was lying next to me, snickered. You heard her, and this isn't your first kiss. You and Sasuke shared your first kiss. Oh, so you're interested in that. Don't listen to this brat, Kaguya. That actually occurred, so I'm not lying. That was an unintended consequence. You're having way too much fun teasing me. Sorry, I'm sorry. Anyway, unless you want to kill her, there's no reason to refuse if she's not lying. So, I'm giving up. I accept, Kaguya, but what will happen to you if you do this? I would also receive a small amount of your chakra, and as a result, my body might change. But that's about it. I gave her a nod. Okay, go ahead. She bit her lip, revealing a thin line of blood. I closed my eyes and waited for a warm sensation on my lips and a chakra thread connecting to my soul. I felt Kaguya's life core in that chakra. Kaguya's thoughts appeared in my mind after it connected to my soul. I'm hoping you'll be able to trust me now. I tried to respond, but her lips remained on mine. Through my chakra thread, send your thoughts. How about this? Yes. I'm glad I finished. You have the option of opening your eyes. Okay. I opened my eyes to find Kaguya standing just a few centimeters away from my face. The sign of her insufficient chakra control vanished from her brow, along with her third eye. With her beautiful red eyes, she appeared younger and more beautiful. You're getting too close to her, Naruto, but oh well, if I had to compare her to all the humans I've seen all this time, she's without a doubt the most beautiful. Did you look like this before you ate the fruit? Yes, my lord. I was perplexed by the way she addressed me. You don't have to call me that. It's entirely up to me. She smiled as she said this. What are your plans for the future? I sighed and paused for a few seconds before responding. I'm not sure. I could resurrect everyone, but they had already died. Everything in this world would change if I brought them back to life. Everyone would try to be different and live in constant fear of being killed if I became angry. That is not the life I want for all humans. I'm powerless right now. Kaguya paused for a moment before responding. What if there is a way to change things so that something like this does not occur? What exactly do you mean? You are no longer constrained by time thanks to your power. This means you can influence events before they occur. You have the ability to prevent anything you want. Even your own parents' deaths. You want me to go back in time? It is feasible. You should be aware of this. Even with my limited abilities, I was able to achieve immortality. With your power, I don't think it's impossible for you to return. It all depends on your preference. I considered whether it was a good idea for a while. Redoing everything may bring many benefits, but it may also bring many drawbacks. Because some people died, others had the opportunity to grow and change. Do you think it's a good idea, Kurama? Naruto, I've been with you since your birth. You're like family to me now that we've been through so much. You are my sibling. I would support you regardless of your decision. Many thanks, Kurama. Master, what is your preference? I grimaced a little when I heard how she was calling me, but I made my decision. It is not an option to redo everything. Life must progress. However, there is only one point in time where things can be changed, and that is the end of the Fourth War. I see. Kaguya and Kurama both sighed. I guessed what they were thinking. Don't worry, I'm not going alone. I'm taking both of you with me. I'm going to take over your previous identities. Kurama, I'll have to recreate your body again, but it won't take long. The only thing that might change, Kaguya, is what you want to do. You are free to leave that location at any time, and I will not prevent you from doing so. Are you going to leave me? Are you going to abandon me? Her eyes were reddish and her voice was sad. I was taken aback to see her in this state. Wait, Kaguya, you're thousands of years old, and you've even had 2 children. Why are you acting this way? She said this while sulking. They were both created with chakra. I used my life force and blood to prevent them from dying like Zetsu. Do you think the Otsutsuki clan's matriarch was allowed to look for a partner? Since I was 5 years old, I had only seen my parents once. The only person I met more frequently was the last Otsutsuki clan head. When I met other humans, they simply prayed at me. They never addressed me. I was forced to act in such a way that they would revere me but never accept me as a person. As a result of this, I changed. I gave up on everything only after being trapped and nearly killed. By being yours, I finally make peace with my past. I couldn't keep from laughing. I suppose even the most terrifying person in history was once a little girl. I approached her and hugged her thin body. Don't worry, you'll always be there for me. She smiled, closed her eyes, and buried her face in my chest. I wanted to flee, but she wouldn't let me. Kurama was laughing uncontrollably close to me. How long are you going to stay this way? This is the first time someone has hugged me. Please let me stay for a while. 1 minute passed, then 2, then 3, and finally, after about 10 minutes, she let me go. Now that I'm good, Master, I'll only ask you to do this a few times per day. What? Kurama began laughing at me once more, while Kaguya smiled without concern. Can we return to what we were discussing before? They both calmed down and became serious. Yes, sir. Alright, Naruto. I told them my plan, and they both remained silent. It's a little dangerous, Naruto. You will not be able to use your power right away. As long as Kaguya doesn't get involved, everything should be fine. Don't worry, Master. If something goes wrong, I may have to intervene. And the fox will be sleeping at that time, so he will be useless. Ooh, nice words from the man who nearly killed Naruto. Granny, how about we have a fight? Tanuki, please stop talking. You better know your place if you don't want to be a tailless. You should both relax. I'm going to return us. I went inside my mind and, as expected, found myself back in that white room. You should have heard my plan, endless. Can we leave? Yes, if that is your wish. But keep in mind that you cannot die in this world. If things get too dangerous, I'll take action. Thank you, E. Do not simply shorten my name. It's too much trouble to refer to you as Endless. He remained silent. Very good. Connect your thoughts to Kurama and Kaguya. I will return you. Also, I will do what you want, but be careful not to lose yourself in the process. Sure, thanks. A huge pressure fell on my mind the next second, and I felt like I was leaving my body. The pain subsided after a few seconds, and the scene in front of me changed. I was inside my own body, right next to where Kurama used to be. Kurama had to play his part right now. Inside my hand were the cores of the future Kurama and Kaguya. I closed my eyes and entered my mind, where I began merging with my personality a few seconds before the conflict between me and Sasuke began. I remained a bystander, waiting for the right moment to act. Meanwhile, E went in search of the deceased Itachi in order to recover his memories. E returned to me a few minutes after the fight began, holding chakra that contained what I required from Itachi. How are you doing, Naruto? Is the merger having an effect on you? No, everything appears to be going smoothly, but I'm still not acting, so I can't be certain. If something bad happens, I'll destroy your body and place your core in another. I'll give Kaguya her core while keeping Kurama's core until you decide to give it to him. I doubt he'd be able to keep his mouth shut. Take precautions. I smiled at him, knowing he was worried not only about me, but also about Kurama and Kaguya. Thank you, E. He sighed and walked away. The fight had progressed to the point where Kurama offered me his chakra to counter Sasuke's killing blow. We were both only using taijutsu but tried to gather chakra for one final attack. Even now, I'm surprised at how well Sasuke knew me. Everything he said during the fight was designed to distract me and make me doubt my own ability to defeat him. As a result, despite the fact that all of his attacks were intended to kill me, I never used an attack to try to kill him. Nonetheless, the time for me to act is approaching. My final rasengan versus his Kagutsuchi. He noticed my chakra and was about to approach Kaguya. I had to come to a halt before he asked for assistance. I merged with my former personality, and a flood of emotions nearly overtook me. I managed to contain my emotions and, using the little chakra I had, I sent the thread containing Itachi's memories into Sasuke's mind. That thread contained everything Itachi did for Sasuke, as well as his feelings of love, fear, hatred, kindness, and guilt for everything he had done. If vengeance was eating Sasuke from within, it was better to make him realize who Itachi truly was, not the ideal in his mind. Sasuke opened his mouth briefly before closing it again. He jumped and attacked me with his Kagutsuchi without asking for assistance. I smiled and controlled the chakra within my rasengan to match the chakra he was using. That's when I lost my senses. Oh no, it hurts. Having half of your arm blown off is not as easy as I thought. It appears that Sasuke will also awaken. It's better to let the regular Naruto speak for himself. I severed my connection with Naruto's conscience and entered the white room where he was waiting. Are you okay, Naruto? Yeah. I came here to heal my arm and stop my chakra from going berserk. Good. Sasuke appears to be pleased with the outcome. Even if he is not, by destroying his arm, he is no longer able to use any jutsu due to blood loss and the inability to form seals. Yes, it appears that my plan was successful. But we still need to make a few changes. How is Kaguya doing? She was moping. Because I didn't have a form, she had no idea I was watching her, and as a result, I saw her practicing kissing you again with her hand. She had a solemn expression on her face. It appears you had a good time. I can't say I didn't have fun. We both burst out laughing. Oh, it appears that my body is losing consciousness once more, and I believe that Sasuke is as well. Stop our blood loss or it will become dangerous, and it will also block his memories of Kaguya. If you see Sasuke doing anything suspicious, kill him. Alright, rest up. Bye. I dozed off once more. It was morning when I awoke. Sasuke awoke as well, and I let Naruto continue talking to him. After some time, Sasuke accepted his arguments and relaxed his body. Sakura and Kakashi approached us. Sakura began crying 2 seconds after she arrived. This is now vexing. I didn't fix everything just to see this woman cry like a victim over and over. I felt bad for Sasuke having to deal with her. Sasuke, like the former me, apologized for acting like a moron. I'm not sure why I had to apologize, but my mind had never been preoccupied with anything. Kakashi had the expression of a parent who had finally seen his children make peace. Surprisingly, one of the children attempted and succeeded in killing everyone. Another idealistic individual, it appears. Sasuke and I dispelled the infinite Tsukuyomi after we had recovered a little from Sakura's healing by doing a seal together. We all went back to our villages after a while of talking. Before leaving, I went to Tsunade and told her I needed another place to stay, a house a little further out of town. She wanted to ask me a few questions, but I used some of my chakra to awaken my Sharingan and make it easier for her to accept my request. After that, I went to Sasuke and told him I'd see him in 2 weeks. When I arrived in Konoha, I was placed in a hospital for 2 days before an Anbu arrived to inform me that the house had been prepared. I was exhausted from all the visits, even though I let Naruto do the talking, so I told Anbu to just tell me the details and I'd find the house. I left the hospital and arrived on the outskirts of Konoha, where there was another new one for me near the other big houses of the most important clans. I discovered the room next to the yard and placed a futon inside. When the Anbu arrived, I had already switched places, so for the first time since passing through time, I had complete control of my body for more than a few moments. I went inside my mind and put Kurama to sleep. I couldn't let him feel my presence each time I took over, or things would get complicated. Before using Kurama's other self, I decided to create a new body for him. I then went to E to ask him a question. E, I'm going to make you a body tomorrow. What kind of body are you looking for? Why do I have to leave here with a body? Because it's inconvenient not to talk to you on a regular basis. And what will you do when you have to switch places? I'll simply summon you inside, or if you prefer, I'll give you a seal so you can use the flash to teleport somewhere else. Are you going to refuse to let me live here? No. I smiled at him until he gave up opposing my suggestion. Very good. Make a tiny white snake. It's easier to conceal my body this way. No worries. But are you certain? Don't you wish you had what Kurama had? No, and the body will change more quickly if it is smaller after reacting to my chakra. Alright. Could you please tell Kaguya to come here and wait for me to wake up? Yes. Good evening. Thanks. Even if I didn't need the sleep, it felt good to sleep this way. When I woke up the next morning, I felt something heavy on my stomach. When I opened my eyes, Kaguya was sitting on top of me. What are you up to? Master, have you forgotten about me? No, just relax. Her eyes were welling up with tears. You're terrifying me. I have stronger emotions now that I'm back in my former body, so seeing you like this is a little frightening. Why? Horns, a third eye, long hair falling all over you, and a massive kimono. You are the epitome of a demon. I'm not a demonic being. She sighed. It was both adorable and terrifying. She threw her body over mine and nearly stabbed me with her horns. I wanted to start with E's body, but I need to change my priorities or I'll die stabbed or from a heart attack. Get up. I'll break the seal on my power, restore my normal body, and then change your body. She pouted for a while before agreeing to my proposal. She left my body and sat in a seiza position next to me. I rose from the futon and entered the yard. I sealed the space around the house because I didn't want anyone to feel my chakra. This barrier also kept others out who didn't have my permission. I undid the seal on my power and felt the vastness of the chakra of origin flow inside my body, gradually changing it. The dark chakra formed a dark sphere around my body to prevent interference. After a few hours, I could finally feel my body adjusting. When I opened my eyes, the final dojutsu appeared, allowing me to feel every chakra around Konoha. My kimono was covered by a cloak made from the Amaterasu flame. The 9 truth-seeking balls floated around me, and the sword from the 10th ball was in front of me. I retracted the orbs and sword within the cloak before dispersing them. This body was much stronger, almost indestructible, and much easier to move. I took a step forward and found myself in front of Kaguya, who asked me what I was waiting for. I approached her and kissed her on the lips. Her soul reconnected with mine, and her body transformed back into her younger self. I was relieved to see her return to her normal body. After that, I made E's body, which was simple to do. The white snake had eyes like mine and a small horn in the middle of its head after E went inside it. His body was also covered in small black flames. I wanted to ask him how strong he is after seeing his appearance, but he just brushed me off and went inside the house to completely fuse with the body. I let him go, then I assigned Kaguya to look after the house while I returned Naruto to his normal residence, intending to return from time to create Kurama's body. After that, I needed to finish the tasks that would, at the very least, prolong the world's peace. After 2 weeks, I created the body for Kurama, and he happily began to sleep all day or fight with Kaguya. Fortunately, only with words. Kaguya wanted to go to the village, so I had to accompany her so she didn't get lost at first. Of course, she transformed into a different person. Our Konoha would be evacuated before we even got to the first shop. After she got used to the village, she left me alone to buy whatever she wanted with the money I received from Tsunade. Meanwhile, because my new body had a different chakra and problems could arise at any time, I created a clone of my former and Kurama's former selves. Because of this, the Naruto everyone knew did not vanish, but he could be controlled by me to do or say whatever I wanted when I needed him. When Sasuke arrived at my clone, I told him to go to my other house, where I would meet him after making some preparations. While Naruto went about his daily activities, Sasuke approached me. When he arrived, I had changed my appearance to resemble the Naruto he was familiar with. Sasuke, come inside. He entered the house with a nod. I arrived next to my old yard, which had been transformed into a garden with a pond and a few trees where Kurama was resting and sleeping. When Sasuke saw Kurama, he opened his eyes wide in surprise. Does he look like Kyuubi? Yeah. This is his new body. He's a lot bigger. How did he obtain it? For the time being, that's a trade secret. He wanted to ask more questions, but I motioned for him to sit a meter away from me on a pillow, just like I did. Calm down. You have a lot of questions, and I'll get to them all. Then allow me to ask you one more question. Only if you have to. Do you think you're Naruto? Well, yes and no. He couldn't understand me but waited for me to speak. Would you like something to drink? Like you can make something other than cup ramen. His words made me laugh. To be honest, I don't recall ever cooking or making anything for myself. Don't worry, I'm not doing anything. Bring some tea, Kaguya. Hearing the word, Kaguya Sasuke sat up quickly, grimacing as if he had a headache. Kaguya, she was alive at the time. How could I have forgotten? Relax, I made you forget. What? Kaguya, dressed in a white kimono with red flowers, entered through the door behind me. Her graceful movements could enchant anyone, except Sasuke, who leapt in the air to flee while activating Susanoo. Kurama abruptly wrapped one of his tails around Sasuke, halting his run, and I dispelled his Susanoo by controlling the chakra around him. He thought Kaguya had stopped his Susanoo from escaping Kurama's grasp. Kyuubi, please let me go and help Naruto. That woman is going to kill us all. Sasuke, calm down. And please address me as Kurama, as that is my name. How could I relax? She lived because of me. She can now kill everyone in Konoha because she has regained her powers. Seeing him so agitated, I smiled, knowing he was truly concerned about Konoha. Don't worry, Sasuke. She'll never do something like that. Isn't that right, Kaguya? Yes, sir. She placed one of the cups next to me and the other next to Sasuke before sitting next to me, her head in my lap. Are you uninterested in what we're going to discuss? No, I feel better sleeping this way. I smiled and began to gently stroke her hair. She trembled slightly from happiness and promptly fell asleep. Sasuke had an intriguing face. Even with his talent for understanding everything in slow motion, seeing what Kaguya did completely blocked him. Kurama, sensing that Sasuke was no longer attempting to flee, placed him back on his pillow and went back to sleep. Now, what should we discuss first? I have a few questions, but from what I can tell, you knew I was about to ask Kaguya for help in our last fight, and you were the one who helped me understand what Itachi wanted from me before I could even ask her for it. You are truly a genius. I was thoroughly impressed. He understood almost everything in a matter of seconds. But it was difficult for Sasuke to express his full idea because it seemed impossible. Don't give up. Do you want to say anything else? You've already seen a future in which I defeated you with Kaguya's help, right? Yes, Sasuke, very good. How did you return? The true power of the Shinju fruit has given me powers greater than anyone else in this world. I was able to kill you after you had killed everyone else and also travel through time with it. If you had that much power, why didn't you resurrect everyone who died in the war? His outburst piqued my interest. Why are you so upset? Oh. I had an inspiration. Do you want me to resurrect Itachi? Why, you're capable of doing something like this? Yes, but I will not do something like this. When someone dies, he has completed his journey on this planet and is now resting. Who do you think you are to make this decision? Do you believe you're God? He had already activated his Sharingan and Rinnegan, but I dispelled the transformation of my body, revealing my true appearance, before he could act. He also appeared, coiled around my neck, ready to attack Sasuke. I felt his immense power and couldn't believe Sasuke could hold out for even a second once he attacked. I was dressed in a black kimono that Kaguya had given me because she had purchased one for herself. I relaxed and dispelled most of Sasuke's internal chakra until he could barely stand. He fell while gasping for air due to a lack of chakra and the pressure around me. Only Kaguya was sleeping soundly. I created a buffer zone around him so he wouldn't be affected by my pressure, and I also recovered some of his chakra. I made a sign telling Sasuke to sit again after he had calmed down, and he obliged. The answer is yes to your question. I am currently the god of this world. There is no need to elaborate. This world no longer possesses the power that I was given. I asked E if he was still alive in this world, but he told me that once someone obtains this power, even if he travels back in time to his birth, he is unable to separate from it or find a replacement. How come? He calmed down, but his eyes were still pleading with me. This world is in a delicate balance, and I need your help to restore it. Using the fruit of Shinju, Kaguya once attempted to prevent humans from fighting and killing each other for power. But she couldn't even use 1% of its power. Nonetheless, she possessed sufficient power to compel humans to stop. However, you witnessed what happened after Hagoromo and Hamura sealed her. Because everyone saw how powerful she was, fights for that power sprouted up all over the place. Innocent people are killed all the time so that someone can get his wish. Peace is only a fantasy in a world where humans refuse to accept it as the best option. As long as there is a source of power, there will be battles for it. As a result, I want to eliminate the possibility of such a thing happening for the time being and look for a safe haven for Konoha in case the worst happens. How come you're telling me this? Because you'll be acting in my place. Why? Hearing his question, my heart was filled with hatred. Because I didn't forgive you for everything you've done, and you didn't change enough to realize that establishing a path solely through power is wrong. Sasuke remained silent after hearing my words. It appears that the influence of overtaking my former self had a greater impact on my personality than I previously thought. E went outside the house to explore after making sure I wasn't in danger. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it in this way. Anyway, have some tea. Even though it's cold, it's quite pleasant. I sipped my tea as I stroked Kaguya's hair. Her presence put me at ease. Before speaking again, Sasuke drank a little tea. What exactly do you want me to do? My strategy is divided into two parts. The first will require you to track down all of the other tailed beasts and connect their chakra to a kunai that contains my chakra. Then I'll summon them here and decide what to do with them. I'll need to know their general location before calling them here, so please send me a report once you've found each of them. You'll be leaving in 6 months. During this time, you will learn to use your nature chakra more effectively, and I will teach you how. Rely less on your Sharingan or Rinnegan unless you need to act in front of others and deceive them. Some people may already be moving to catch them, so you must strengthen yourself. Tsunade intends to construct an arm for you out of Hashirama cells. However, we do not have that much time. When the first phase is completed, we will discuss the second. He gave a nod. What should I do if I meet other people? Murder them. Don't leave even one rat. Sasuke was taken aback by my words but remained silent. I am different, Sasuke, and I will gradually transform into my true self. Before that can happen, I need to finish all of my preparations. I will only act if absolutely necessary. Alright, but what about Taka's former members? You are free to keep them. They'll come in handy during the second phase. And how about Sakura? To be honest, I couldn't give a damn about her. It's strange to hear this from the person who was always following her. I didn't give it much thought. In some ways, I feel sorry for you. I'm surprised you didn't murder her before leaving Konoha. You should have expected us to catch up to you faster as a result. I didn't want to leave Konoha after something like Watachi did. Oh well, at least she's getting better. She irritates me and appears to be an obsessed stalker. But she's your stalker, so it's none of my business. And how about your stalker? Who? Kaguya inquired ahead of me. Say so if you're awake. Rubbing her eyes, she slowly lifted her head and rested it on my shoulder. Sasuke was still a little scared, but he quickly calmed down. I'm referring to Hinata. She is even more heinous than Sakura. Even when I was in the village, her shadow followed you around. I suppose one of the reasons she has such a low profile is that she has grown accustomed to hiding everywhere and following you. She's an authority. While Sasuke smiled, I burst out laughing. That's correct. Master, please introduce me to that young lady. Why? If she truly loves you, she could come here and live with us. Aren't you going to be envious? Why? Sorry, I forgot that you don't respond to common sense. How come Kaguya calls you master and changes her appearance so much, Naruto? About the first question, don't ask any more. I believe it's her hobby. That's impolite, master. I gave you my life and body. I smiled at Kaguya after lightly hitting her on the brow. It's true that she gave me her life, but in order to do so, she had to kiss me. When she did this, she also received a portion of my chakra, which has now completed her merging with the portion of the Shinju fruit that she ate. As a result, she appears much more beautiful and less frightening. Seeing how I treated Kaguya Sasuke, he inquired. Do you have feelings for her? I'm not sure, but I really enjoy her presence. So it's conceivable. Kaguya lifted her head and kissed me on the lips. Should we give it a shot and see what you think of me, master? I felt a little self-conscious. I forgot that, despite her childish demeanor, Kaguya understands the human heart far better than I do. I tried to appear calm. Stop laughing and go get some more tea and snacks. Alright, we'll see what we can do tonight. She had already left before I could say anything. Does this reflect her true personality? I didn't expect the cold-blooded killer known as Kaguya to be this way. Kaguya is acting childish in order to forget her past. She is tired, and as a result, she tries to get close to me. Keep this from her, but I am certain that I love her. Only if you say so. He gave me an odd look. How about you? Do you believe you can deceive me? I know you have a soft spot for Sakura, so you're just as odd as I am. How? My eyes contain Rinnegan, which enables me to see everything that is hidden. Even if they don't see how easily you accept her presence, it would be abnormal to think otherwise. We exchanged glances for a few seconds before laughing. Following that, Sasuke became solemn. Can I be your friend, Naruto? You're one of my friends. You claimed you didn't forgive me. To be your friend, I must first be forgiven by you. Your errors stem from your inability to look around you to see how your actions affect other people. Things always go wrong because you don't care about them. Also, are you certain? I'm not the same Naruto you once knew. It really doesn't matter. You are still Naruto, but you are no longer a child. I will also make an effort to correct my errors. That's why I've assigned you to this mission. He accepted my words with a nod. We both felt like we could understand each other better after things calmed down. Could you not also read my thoughts? Are you afraid I'll ask you about your meetings with Sakura? What? No way, no how. There's no need to lie. Anyway, I'm not going to use it while you're around. Is that all right? Sure, thanks. Kaguya returned with the tea, and we talked about everything we did before the war. As time passed, night arrived. I'm going to leave. When should I return? Whenever you want. Kurama will be here lazing around all the time. Kurama made a disgruntled noise but continued to sleep. Sasuke smiled at him before returning his attention to me. I'll try to come every day. Yes. We shook hands before he left, and we both accepted that a lot had changed. Kaguya attacked me that night. Of course, I could have stopped her if I had wanted to, but I didn't. When I awoke in the morning, she was sleeping next to me, naked. I felt embarrassed thinking about what we had done as I felt her body next to mine. Kaguya's peaceful sleeping face soothed me, but it also reminded me of how difficult it must have been for her to remain trapped for so long while witnessing what was happening to this world as a result of her actions. I hugged her and fell asleep until Sasuke arrived. Kaguya had already dressed and directed him to the porch. I approached him and, after a brief conversation, began the training. In the months that followed, he was nearly killed by either Kurama or Kaguya, and I was always called in to heal him. He only spoke to him a few times and never fought him. Sasuke once asked me how strong he was, and I simply told him he didn't want to know. Meanwhile, I learned that Kakashi had been promoted to Hokage and wondered how long it would be before I had to succeed him. After 6 months, Sasuke left the village, leaving Sakura in tears and a worried Kakashi behind. My former self, who was unaware of my plan, believed Sasuke's words that he was leaving to travel the world and simply saw him off. All I had to do now was wait. Sasuke left on his mission and only returned a few times. His relationship with Sakura became more visible to others over time, and many people tried to prevent him from leaving Konoha. He just brushed them off and came to me to give the report each time. A problem arose after 4 of the 8-tailed beasts were discovered. Some organizations are on the move, Naruto. I met a few Shinoni who admitted to being members of secret underground organizations from the Lighting and Earth villages. They were either attempting to capture or seal the tailed beast in new hosts. Also, as you mentioned, after Akatsuki vanished, hundreds of low-level rogue organizations began fighting each other for control of Akatsuki's former locations. 3 organizations eventually became kings. Their combined power is comparable to that of the entire Konoha village and... Stop, it really doesn't matter. The 1-tailed beast that now protects the Sand Village and the 8-tailed beast that fused with B will remain after you find the next 2-tailed beasts. When that time comes, I will provide you with new instructions. Tell Taka to observe all the organizations and find their strongest ninja before you leave. If at all possible, capture them. How do you intend to use them? That will be for the second phase. Until then, go to Tsunade and have your arm taken. It's finished and already attached to my clone. I could recover yours as easily as I recovered mine, but such a technique is unknown, so it will only raise suspicions that you are still in contact with Orochimaru. Alright, I'll do what you say. I'm not sure where Orochimaru is now, but many people want to find him and ask him for assistance. I know exactly where he is. He intends to create artificial tailed beasts as well as a new Uchiha clan. What? How could he possibly pull it off? He's using the last of his chakra from the battle with Kaguya. Don't worry, I'm keeping an eye on them. If something happens, I will take action. For the time being, sit back and tell me about your adventures. He sighed, but remained calm. While Kurama was playing chess against E, Kaguya was sleeping as usual on my legs. E was beating him so hard that he smashed the board a few times, forcing E to remake it. I expected E to be upset, but instead I saw him having a good time. I expected Sasuke to be perplexed, but instead he was smiling and enjoying the sake that Kaguya had brought for us. These were the most precious times for me because they would never end. While Sasuke was away, Kaguya and Kurama looked for ways to pass the time and sent their findings to E, who replicated them. We now have hundreds of thousands of books and enough games to make Kurama want to stay at home forever. Still, seeing them happy brought me the most joy. After a few hours of drinking, Sasuke decided to spend the night. Kaguya pouted because she never let me go each night, but she didn't complain and brought us more snacks and sake before going to sleep. "Are you happy now, Naruto?" I was taken aback by Sasuke's question. "Yes. I'm overjoyed." "What about the other people?" "The other Naruto takes your place, but they're also your friends. They will perish after having lived their lives to the fullest. When that time comes, everything will come to an end, and I will be left with an empty heart. I've already overcome my older feelings and am now my true self, but it's not like I've completely lost them. As a result, Kurama, Kaguya, and E are the most valuable." Sasuke lifted his head to observe the moon. "It appears your relationship with Kaguya has improved. I love her, and she loves me. She would never betray me or tell me a lie. You can always tell what she's thinking." "No, I told her I trusted her enough to entrust my life to her. She still wanted to argue, but I told her it wouldn't matter because our lives were already intertwined. Also, don't tell her, but knowing her plans for each night has become embarrassing for me. This was one of the more minor reasons I did it. I speak with her on occasion, but she behaves completely differently in my presence. It's far easier to talk to a Hokage than it is to her. Even though she smiles and acts like a friend, I feel under a lot of pressure. She belongs to me. She won't let her feel anything for anyone else. Kurama and E are exceptions because they are superior to humans. But she won't let herself get even 1 millimeter closer to me." Sasuke's eyes glowed with curiosity as he listened to my words. "Perhaps Sakura will be the same? Please don't ask me that. The only thing that never changes about her is her love for you." "I'm hoping so." I talked to him about a variety of topics until morning arrived and he left. He left the village after going to Tsunade to get the new arm. The other two-tailed beasts were quickly discovered, and he returned to me to ask what to do about the last two. I told him that for Shukaku and Gyuki, it was better to use a different type of kunai that would keep them connected to their former hosts until their deaths. I also gave him specific instructions on how to use the Sharingan to avoid being discovered by the village barrier or sensory ninja. I handed him the kunai, and he went off to complete the mission. It took him a year to find 6 of the beast, and just a few days before another half-year passed, I felt my chakra was finally connected to all 8. I decided to bring the 6 that were free roaming to my house one by one and seal their beings in each of Kurama's tails. If someone witnessed what I did, they might think I was cruel, but I still did it. I duplicated the last 2, encasing their power in another 2 of Kurama's tails. Kurama gained the ability to use 9 truth-seeking balls at the same time, and small black flames appeared on his fur, similar to the body he has. His power was still much lower than E's, and he was also weaker than Kaguya. But if he had to fight 10 tails again, he could defeat it without putting himself in danger. He discovered he was weaker than Kaguya after provoking her and being thrashed mercilessly. While I was healing him, both E and I were laughing, and he was looking embarrassed. Someone broke the silence when they entered the village. I could tell they were almost all objects based on their chakra. Their intended target was the Hyuga household, where they kidnapped Hinata's younger sister and, later, Hinata. I was curious about who did it and discovered that the puppeteer who was leading the puppets was the one I killed to obtain Tensegan. This could be interesting. Are you still interested in Hinata, Kaguya? Yes. Well, at least we'll get to see her emotions. I discovered that she was ready to confess based on what I learned from the other Naruto memories. Now we just have to follow them and see what happens. Alright. Kurama, I have a feeling something is wrong with the moon. It appears to be falling and disintegrating. Protect the Earth Village and use your orbs to destroy those large enough to threaten the Earth before they are noticed. You always assign me the most difficult tasks. Don't mope around. I'll give you as much food as you want for a week. Naruto, don't forget what you said. Stupid Tanuki, all you care about is food and sleep. Granny, shut up. I had grown accustomed to their normal fights, and both of them were relieved to have someone to complain to, so I let them do what they wanted. However, time was running out. Calm down, guys, let's go. Hinata. Naruto screamed and ran after her. The kidnapper had fled, and he was fighting with some of the puppets. What is he doing, master? I'm drinking and looking through my eyes. He consumes far too much alcohol. There is no problem as long as he creates it. We both burst out laughing. Naruto followed after defeating some of the puppets and was able to free and then save Hinata. The kidnapper of Hinata's younger sister stated that he would return for Hinata later, which piqued my interest once more. I remembered something while observing Naruto's actions in his mind. Kaguya, if this were our last day on Earth, who would you want to spend it with? Kaguya was perplexed as to why I had asked such a question. Just respond how you feel. She laughed. If such a possibility arose, I would search until the last second for a way to save you while never leaving your side. For some reason, her response seemed particularly appropriate. Thank you, Kaguya. I gave her a light kiss. Don't worry, such a day will never come. She cuddled up to my chest with delight. After that, we waited for the next day, when a group of ninjas led by Naruto and Hinata set out to save Hanabi. While searching, they came across a location with a high density of chakra that also served as an area jutsu. Do you recognize the type, Kaguya? It will take some time for me to fully grasp its application. I recognize it right away. It's one of my stupid child jutsu. One for transportation. It also has a genjutsu trap. Which one of your kids? Hamura. I comprehend. This appears to be a lot of fun. Let's keep an eye on them. They activated the genjutsu after entering the chakra mass. We must assist them. It appears that they did not attempt to verify the strength of the chakra mass. Yes. Kaguya, you send a small amount of chakra inside Sakura to cause her to dispel the genjutsu. I have a good idea. What are your plans, master? I'm going to connect Naruto and Hinata's genjutsu so Naruto can see her emotions and memories. How adorable. Don't tease me and then leave. Yes. Sakura awoke and began dispelling the genjutsu of the others. Naruto had seen more than enough by the time she arrived. They entered the second chakra mass after the first, but before that, everyone left Hinata alone. Are they idiots? They abandoned her. Oh, he's already arrived. I'll summon Naruto here. You take in the situation. Yes. I got into Naruto's head and got him worried about Hinata's whereabouts. When he turned his head to look back, he realized she wasn't there. I retrieved him. How did Hinata avoid being kidnapped? Give me a second to look into my memories. Are you certain? She simply nodded, her face solemn. I went inside her head and discovered that Hinata had a private conversation with the person known as Toneri. It appears. She isn't that bright, yes. At the very least, I discovered why her Byakugan assisted me in achieving Tensegan. She had a trace of Tensegan in her Byakugan, which would awaken on its own with stronger chakra. Do you feel obligated then? Only a little. We followed them, and I had the impression we had passed through the transportation jutsu. We're on the moon because of the chakra around here. That kid is extremely stupid. I'd always suspected we had a special relationship with the moon, but never enough to relocate here. I burst out laughing. It's fine. In fact, it's quite useful for the second phase of my plan. Master, if you say so. Yeah. Meanwhile, everyone arrived at a former village where Chakra from the Hamura was residing. Hinata entered a secret passage with everyone after discovering the source, where she received a message from a former Hamura puppet. He's telling Hinata about the Otsutsuki clan and what's going on right now. Would you like to tell him something? Not at all. He also believed that by using only words, he would be able to create a peaceful world. But he ultimately failed miserably. Let's see what they intend to do from now on. Hinata appears to be making a lot of mistakes by keeping so many secrets. This is what concerns me as well, Master. After some time had passed, Naruto went to Hinata and confessed. I could also feel Toneri approaching. Depending on her preferences, Master, I might have to advise you not to pursue her. Yeah. Toneri arrived shortly after Naruto confessed. Everything hinged on her love and trust in Naruto, or on her desire to deal with these issues on her own, even if it meant being separated from him. And she made the decision not to trust Naruto and left with Toneri. I sighed slightly. She has a good heart, but she doesn't realize how her decisions affect others or what they really mean. I apologize, Master. There's no need. It's not your fault. We will simply observe her from now on and leave her alone. If something extremely dangerous occurs, we will act. Otherwise, we will remain silent. Naruto pursued Toneri, but he was eventually defeated. He slept for 3 days while Shikamaru found a way into Toneri's palace. When Naruto regained consciousness, he pursued Hinata and saved her. But not in time to prevent Toneri from acquiring Tensegan. In his fight, he used a chakra blade to cut the moon in half. While on Earth, Kurama told me that the lightning village possessed a weapon powerful enough to destroy the moon. Humans should never have possessed chakra. They simply use it without considering the implications for their own world. Power, Kaguya, makes one forget even his own bearing. I'll repair the moon and use genjutsu on the entire planet so no one can see the difference. In shock, Kaguya opened her eyes. Master, do you have the power to do such a thing? That's not an issue for me. I guess I found a great master. Her words made me laugh, and she just blushed. Toneri became controlled by the power that resided in the eyes of the entire Otsutsuki clan after losing his Tensegan. Naruto drew him out of the chakra mass that covered his body, and I fixed his chakra so that it wouldn't destroy his being from the inside out. Kaguya realized what I was planning and remained silent. Tanuki. What do you desire, Granny? You fat Tanuki, learn to write. Wait a minute, what am I doing on the moon? While watching the other Kurama write on the moon, Kaguya laughed. Kurama told me after Kaguya had stopped laughing that Sasuke had returned to Konoha to protect it and had sent me his memories. Alright, Kaguya, disintegrate the moon passage, make a copy, and store it inside a bogus truth-seeking orb. How do I go about making one? Oh, sure, I'll give you one. I made an orb and connected it to her chakra. This has more chakra than I do. I suppose only I can make it. Anyway, start working on the copy while I fix the moon and make the genjutsu. Yes, sir. We finally finished our parts after a few hours, and Naruto and the others left in the meantime. How about we go to Toneri? Toneri remained seated next to the graves of his former clansmen. He became alarmed when he felt our pressure. Good day, Toneri. We'll see. What is your name? My name is Naruto. Impossible. Your chakra makes the chakra gathered over thousands of years from the eyes of hundreds of thousands of clansmen appear as a pebble in comparison to the moon. Even Hamura-sama couldn't come close. But there's one thing I don't understand. If there are two presences, why can I only feel one's chakra? Oh, the chakra you're sensing comes from Kaguya Otsutsuki. What? No, it is not feasible. She ought to have been defeated. Is she here to annihilate this place, then the moon? Please intervene. Toneri lamented as she gained some distance. When Kaguya saw him, he felt bad and approached him. Calm down, Toneri. You can't feel my master chakra because it's much stronger than mine. So strong that if he wishes, I can't even lift a finger in front of him. Is Naruto your master? The most powerful being in history is referring to someone else as her master. Naruto, who are you? I almost beat you. Alright, relax. I'll give you a fresh pair of eyes with Tensegan, and you'll see for yourself. How? Toneri opened his eyes and raised his head, sensing the high density of chakra in his body. When he saw us, his face turned pale and his breathing rate increased. Toneri, this location will be beneficial to my plans. So you'll have to work for me from now on. Toneri, you will protect this place for as long as you can. In addition to your Tensegan, I gave you a lifespan longer than normal humans have. You will live for more than 1,000 years, and in that time prepare for when Konoha is in danger. I will depart from this world soon, but before that I will bring you a few of the Hyuga clan. So use your puppets to repair this place in the meantime. Toneri remained silent, staring at me with suspicious eyes. Don't worry, I'm not planning to destroy the world. It's just a precaution for the future. I understand, but why don't you want to protect your village? Because I don't want to be the power that makes them conceited. This world will start to rely on something other than chakra, and that power will be technology. Sooner or later, this power will bring new wars, and only by having this place prepared will Konoha survive. However, I cut the moon in half. Don't worry, I've already fixed it. Toneri remained silent for a few seconds. Alright, but do you trust me? This world will end sooner or later due to wars. Whether we destroy it now or later doesn't really matter. But for now, there are people worth saving. I don't think you've done wrong. It's just that you didn't have anyone to show you other possibilities. I will repair your castle, and you will give it power as the head of the new Otsutsuki clan. Are there any problems with this, Kaguya? There are none, Master. Good. But what will happen to the castle after I die? Don't worry, you can choose another person to take your eyes and use them before you die, and their power will not fade. That's excellent. I will also give you a small gift. If you wish to leave this world and come serve me by the end of your life, you will be able to do so. I touched his brow and offered him some of my origin chakra. Once you use it, you will be teleported to my side, and I will give you a new body if you pass your Tensegan, and your life will become mine. These are the conditions. I have no problems with them. Good, then take care. I doubt we'll see each other again, but I'll keep my promise and won't abandon you. Alright. We exchanged handshakes and smiles. I returned to Earth with Kaguya using an improved version of Flash. When we got home, I told Kurama to come in and start eating his dinner. He was home in a matter of seconds. Sasuke returned a day later to inform me that he had completed his mission. When he saw Kurama, he was taken aback not only by his appearance, but also by his newfound power. He got much stronger. Yeah, now sit here. We need to talk for a moment. Kaguya, bring some sake. Yes, sir. Congratulations, Sasuke, on completing such a difficult mission. No problem, it was fascinating. Then it's well, I have some good news for you. The second phase is easier but also requires a lot more time. During that time, you can come here more frequently, but before that, you have a break for about a year or so. During that time, I will finish a few things on my part, get married to Sakura, and be happy with her for a while. Still, I think Naruto will be faster. What exactly do you mean? I abandoned him with Hinata. So she wasn't willing to abandon everything? It appears you understood what I was looking for in her. I can see how Kaguya is and understand how helpful she is to you. In the end, even if you changed, you wouldn't be so happy without her, Kurama, and E. That is correct. Kaguya arrived with the sake, and we talked about what happened while he was on his missions all night. Taka did its job by capturing some powerful ninja and also destroying the most powerful organizations from within. They now had over 100 captured shinobi. I told him that they would be a part of Taka and that he should send a message to the other members about the change. He understood what I was planning and agreed right away. After that, I told him to send a message to the original Taka members and spend time with both of you after he marries Sakura. He left a few hours later with a promise to see each other again in a few weeks. The following morning, I left Taka's base. I used my Sharingan to convince them all that they were former Konoha ninja who now worked with Sasuke to protect the village and that they had been acting on orders from elsewhere. They all fell asleep and their memories were gradually altered. When they awoke, they were freed thanks to Sasuke's message, which I passed on to the other Taka members. They couldn't figure out what happened, and because I didn't show my face, they didn't know who I was. Nonetheless, they trusted Sasuke and began preparing for their new members to adjust. Taka was now on par with, if not stronger than, Akatsuki. When the weeding between Naruto and Hinata was finished, I went to Hiyashi Hyuga to discuss my plans for Toneri. He didn't stop me because I was using the Naruto body he recognized and took me to a room with just him and Hanabi. When I noticed that no one was listening or approaching, I put up a barrier so that we could talk without interruptions. How are things going in your new home, Naruto? Is it to your liking? Which house? Hiyashi suddenly became solemn. The place where you live with Hinata is my gift for your wedding. That's not me. That's not the person Hinata married. He attempted to use Byakugan and attack me, but he was unable to use any chakra or either move. Hanabi was in the same boat. What happened, father? I'm not sure what you intend to do with us, you imposter. Well, I'm not an imposter. Technically, I'm still Naruto. What are you talking about? When I realized things were getting out of hand, I went to him and sent my memories up to the moment Hinata died. It took him a few moments to adjust to the memories, and during that time he fainted. Hanabi was terrified when he saw this. Why did you murder my father, and are you going to murder me now? Would you like to see what your father is seeing right now? She nodded, unsure of herself. I went to her and implanted the same memories in her, then waited for both of them to awaken. Surprisingly, Hanabi was the one who awoke first. Naruto? Yes. She tried to move, and I let her believe that she wouldn't try to run anymore. She sat down next to me and hugged me across the chest. It must have been difficult for you. She burst into tears. I was grateful for what she said. Many thanks, Hanabi. Return to your seat, Hanabi. Hiyashi awoke as well. Hanabi returned to her home. Was everything I saw real? Yes. How then? I remembered the transformation I'd used to show them my true self. They were both taken aback when they saw it. I gained a new power, exacted vengeance on Hinata, and returned to repair some but not all of the damage. Hiyashi realized what I meant when I said that Neji couldn't be saved. I see. Then what do you want from me? I'd like to know if you'd like to relocate a few of your clansmen to where the Otsutsuki clan lived before they died, i.e. where Hanabi and Hinata were a few months ago, on the moon. What do you mean? How could we do that? The passage has been destroyed. I can relocate them there, and Toneri will become their new clan leader. Toneri? The kidnapper who took Hanabi's eyes? Yes, he is now serving me and will try to create a place for Konoha to live if a great danger arrives in the future. They will become the new Otsutsuki clan and have a territory larger than this nation. Of course, you can choose as many people as you wish to live there and work alongside them. Why would I do something like that? Because it is for the sake of Konoha and the Hyuga clan to exist forever. What do you think, Hanabi? You'll be the next clan chief. I'm not sure I understand, but if it's for the good of Konoha, why not? We also have a lot of members who want us to create an independent village, and if we talk to them about it, they might accept. Alright, Naruto, I'll try to find people who want to leave. Alright, I've put my faith in you from the start. Can I ask you a question, Naruto? What exactly do you want to know, Hanabi? How come you didn't try to marry my sister? Because she prefers Naruto to me. She tried to comprehend what I was saying, while Hiyashi simply smiled, knowing what I meant. I believe I understand. May I make a request? If it's possible, I'll accept. Can I come over and spend some time with you? Both Hiyashi and I were taken aback. Why? Because I want to, and you said if it's possible, you'll give me what I want. Wait a minute, what about your father? Hiyashi appeared to pause for a moment before agreeing. Do you really want to? Yes. I gave her a friendly smile. Her personality was quite distinct from Hinata's. Alright, then, let's go, Hiyashi. Of course, take care of Hanabi. After that, I went to Hanabi and teleported back to my house with her. When I got home, Kaguya came out from inside the house to greet me, but she stopped when she saw Hanabi. Who exactly is she? Hanabi's eyes piqued her interest, and she smiled happily. She is Hinata's younger sister, Hanabi Hyuga. Then please welcome Hanabi. Yes, please. Hanabi's gaze was fixed on Kaguya. Kaguya, bring some snacks and tea for her. We'll meet at the same spot as usual. Okay, master. Hanabi was finally able to look at me after she left. Who is she? She is so beautiful that I couldn't bear looking anywhere else. First, come here and sit. We arrived at the location where I usually spend time talking with Sasuke. She came to a halt when she noticed Kurama sleeping. What exactly is that? Kurama, come here and introduce yourself. Kurama, who was listening, awoke and approached her. His demeanor appeared noble and powerful. Hello, Hanabi, my name is Kurama, and I go by Kyubi. Kyubi, how come you used to be so tall, but now you're smaller and seem so strong? Kurama was at a loss for words and looked at me puzzled. I smiled and decided to walk Hanabi through everything step by step. Hanabi, like me, Kurama changed, and as a result, he looks like this. Oh, okay, I see. I liked how straightforward it was. Kurama happily returned to his sleeping quarters. The woman you just met, Hanabi, is Kaguya, Otsutsuki Kaguya. Hanabi, who had heard about the war, and Kaguya from the other Hyugas both looked surprised. Isn't she dangerous? From what I've heard, she appears to be very scary and cruel. I used to believe that, but now I know her better and love her. She will be your friend, but never tell anyone about her. Hanabi, who was not involved in the war, had no ill will toward Kaguya and readily accepted him. The last person I'd like to introduce you to is E. E had a constant connection with me, so I knew he was just reading now and called him. He appeared coiled around my neck, looking at her with interest. He felt better after seeing my memories. E, like Kurama, is my family, and he is very smart, so he will teach you from time to time. Is that okay? Yes. Hanabi simply smiled as Kaguya approached with the snacks. When she saw her reaction, Kaguya smiled and patted her on the head. While you are here, you will train as usual, and in the rest of your time, you can play as much as you want. If you want to leave home, just tell me, and I will send you back. If you don't want to, you will go back to your father at least once every 2 weeks. The next time you go home, you will give your father a seal paper to use when he needs you, and I will send you to him. Hanabi, who liked the place, nodded and smiled. Later that night, after Kaguya and Hanabi had gone to bed, she asked me a question. Has Hanabi already awakened some of her Tenseigen? Yes. She will then grow quite strong. Yes. She grinned like a child who had finally discovered what he was looking for. Would you accept if she agreed to stay with us forever? Before responding, I remained silent for a few seconds to consider what she meant. Yes. Hanabi was happily playing with Kurama or Kaguya and learning new things from E as time passed. She became especially close to Kaguya and treated her as if they were sisters. Hiyashi told me a few months later that over 100 clansmen wanted to leave, as did over 1,000 people who worked for them. He had spoken to each of them privately, so only those who were leaving knew about the clan's departure to the moon. The rest of the clan had no idea they were going to another village as a special delegation. They were not told where they were going, so no problems arose. I traveled to Hiyashi and then transported everyone to the moon. Toneri had already repaired and waited for all of the houses. I didn't stay long, but I could tell Toneri was excited to tell them everything. I watched how things went for a few days and was pleased to see that everyone was content to have such a lovely place to call home. I gave Hiyashi some of my memories when I went to tell him how things went. He told me he'd like to go there when Hanabi becomes the next head of state after seeing how things looked. I agreed and made a promise to bring him there. Sasuke had his wedding, which was celebrated by all Taka members. He came to see me a few months later. Hanabi said hello before departing to play with Kurama. She and Sasuke were both used to seeing Sasuke arrive. What is the next stage of your plan, Naruto? When I become Hokage, I will prepare a room where a jutsu of transportation will be placed. Only a Hokage will be able to activate it. As long as a person receives this position, he will be able to activate it using a simple jutsu. Before leaving this world, I will make Naruto step down from his position after he has been a Hokage for more than 20 years and leave you to be Hokage. Wait, are you going to make me Hokage? Yes, because Hokages were given the title for life fights appeared in the past. I will make Naruto think of this and propose a new system that can make someone a Hokage as long as that person's skills and achievements are recognized by the entire village. What about me? I couldn't get in. No, not right now, but remember that I told you that the second phase would take you a lot longer to complete. Do you know why? No. Because the final part of my plan is to make you a person who is recognized as the next Hokage. You will travel to fight against all the potential trouble that will appear around the village. The defeat of those growing organizations is already known and your reputation has improved. Taka will act as Konoha's new secret organization. They will defeat those who threaten Konoha and also find other strong ninja among them or from other nations aside from our allied ones. With a solemn expression, Sasuke appeared to accept the future that lay ahead of him. Yes. Good, then I will no longer act and will simply wait for the time to leave this world. Hearing my words, Sasuke seemed a little sad. Are you really planning to leave? Yes. I'd gladly leave with you if Sakura wasn't here. If you think like this, I'll give you this choice as well. I gave it to Toneri, and you deserve it as well. What do you have? Before you die, you can activate a jutsu that will send your conscience to me. After I create a new body, I will place your conscience inside it, and you will be under my command and never be able to leave my side, but only you will be able to leave. Sasuke paused for a moment before speaking. I'll give it some thought. Good, then start planning for the future now because you'll be the one making it. Yeah. Sasuke began to pay me less and less attention. I gave him the scroll that contained the secret to activating the jutsu of transportation and the jutsu to control other ninja when he left the village again. Sasuke then informed me that he had made the decision to stay in this world until the end. I knew he'd say that, so we just said our goodbyes. I used a small amount of my power to erase my memory from his mind, allowing him to focus solely on the future. Years passed, and Naruto rose to the position of Hokage. I used some control over him to place the jutsu for transportation in a room that only the Hokage could open. After that, I stopped interfering with him and let him be the real Naruto. Hanabi grew stronger over time and was able to use Tensegan for a few minutes. I told her to keep this power hidden, and she didn't object. When I told her I was leaving this world soon, she kissed me in front of Kaguya. Kaguya simply smiled, knowing that this would happen. Hanabi expressed her desire to remain with us indefinitely and refused to leave. Because I had already promised Kaguya, I accepted and told her she needed to first become clan head. Hiyashi appointed her as the head 4 years later when she was 19 years old and left to stay on the moon. Toneri had already waited for me because he needed to discuss something. When I asked what was wrong, he said he was content with his life and wanted to stay in it until the day he died. I was relieved to see him connect to something and gladly removed my power from him. When I got home, Hanabi was waiting for me. You won't back down now that I'm in charge, will you? She grew to be even more beautiful than Hinata, and thanks to Kaguya and he teaching her proper social behavior, she now has a dignified aura. Nonetheless, she acted spoiled around me. Yes, you know what this means, don't you? She kissed me on the lips for a long time without wasting a second. I connected a chakra thread to my soul and sent her some of my power. Her long brown hair turned pale blue as a result, and her eyes had a complete Tensegan with a beautiful red flower instead of the normal white one. She smiled as she took a step away from me. I had planned to leave for quite some time, not only because I am close to Kaguya, but also because I fell in love with you. She blushed slightly as she said this. When I saw her like this, my mind went to Kaguya and how she planned everything. Before continuing, I sighed slightly. I'll make a clone for you and Hiyashi so the clan doesn't have any problems, and in the meantime, you'll act as head, is that okay? Yes. She already knew what I was capable of, so there was no need for me to conceal it. It was simple to make them, but it took me a month to create fake memories for Hanabi for the time she spent with me. After I finished, the Hyuga clan resumed normal operations. A few months later, I awoke with Kaguya naked on my right side and Hanabi naked on my left. I only vaguely remembered Kaguya making me drink more and more, and it was only now that I realized why. I smiled a little, knowing they were both happy. On the same day, I decided it was time to leave this world. I spoke with E, and he told me that a location had already been prepared in case I decided to wait a while before exploring other worlds, and that there would be knowledge from all the other worlds stored there to assist me. He seemed a little excited thinking about how much he could learn. He also told me that in that world, everyone, including myself, lived on a different planet, so there was no interaction. I was pleased by this and decided to speak with Hanabi, Kaguya, and Kurama. They were all delighted, especially Kurama, who had heard from E that there would be new foods available. A few days later, after cleaning the house, E and I gathered in the garden and eliminated all the chakra around us, relying solely on the origin power to create a vortex through which we could pass. It was a long process, but we finally finished after a few minutes. Kurama jumped inside happily, and we followed, leaving behind a world that was now dealing with its own problems. We emerged from the vortex in front of a house in the middle of a forest. The entire space where the house was built was as large as Konoha and resembled the castles where the Lord of the Fireland lived. We spent a long time in this house before deciding to travel to other parts of our planet. Kurama remained his usual lazy and playful self. E became friendlier to everyone, eventually becoming as lazy as Kurama, though I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. Hanabi continued to be spoiled around me, and surprisingly, she never regretted leaving, instead becoming more relaxed. She also learned far too much from Kaguya. Kaguya's heart grew closer to mine. She always had a good time with everyone and had finally moved on from her past. She began to laugh more frequently and would play games with E and Kurama for days on end. I discovered that she despises losing. Kurama couldn't even see the board when she finally won, and he fainted when Kaguya announced her victory. Even though my arms were always numb, waking up next to Kaguya and Hanabi became the norm for me. Kurama and E were my drinking buddies because they both took human forms later on. We fainted several times next to the sake bottles, but thankfully in this world, we can create anything as long as we have knowledge about it. I discovered that I enjoy drinking excessively. Still, I'm content. We hardly remembered our former world after a few hundred years and only talked about it when we were too lazy to do anything. While everyone else was playing in the pool in front of the house, I looked up at the sky and had only one thing to say before joining the others. Thank you for this wonderful gift.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.